All right, lesson 19. Okay. This particular lesson, it says that you are determining the type of study. As you were writing through your vocab, we're going to have experimental and observational. There's a couple different types of them. Okay. You have a population, you should know that that consists of all subjects, right? Or items of interest. And does it make sense that a sample is a subset of that population? Okay. Now, the different types of studies, that's these three below. So you have observational, and then you have retrospective and prospective. So with retrospective, that is something that happens in the past. So it's where data is studied, but it's something that has already happened. Where the prospective is something, notice the words, it says future collecting of data. So it's where they are observing, but then it's something that happens in the future. Okay? Don't worry, our examples is what we're going to do as far as identifying this stuff. All right, then you have, of course, you know what a survey is. All right, so let's scooch it on down to experiment and simulation. So simulation is something that is used in mathematics when it can become dangerous, risky or even unethical. So they'll do a simulation instead of the other part. Okay. Do you want me just to keep the answer key going?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the difference between, on example 1, notice what word they used, difference between sample and population. What word?
All.
All. So if you put all in front of the sample, you're pretty good as far as, getting the population. So the population is all iPhones that were produced that day, but they only took 25 of them that were randomly selected. Okay. All right, what do you think on example 2?
Let's do the 5,000 population and then the 1252%.
Nope.
No. The sample is 1,252, and the population is everyone in Florida.
It's all constituents,
Oh, is it all
right?
constituents?
All constituents. Because the 5,000 was what was already randomly selected, right? However, what did they actually have the data on?
5.
The 1252,
Oh.
right? So that was actually the sample that they were to use, even though they randomly selected 5,000.
But aren't they trying to apply data to all of Florida? They're not
What are
just-
they going to do? Send one to
Well, if they
everyone?
randomly selected 5,000 constituents, they got published too. But if they randomly selected, they're trying to get stuff from the entire state now.
Yeah, it's just all of them.
Which is just
Yeah. Okay. All right, look at example 3. So now we're kind of determining what type of observational study do we have. So if you look back at your vocab, remember we have the retrospective and we have the prospective. Okay, so which one, if you read that very first sentence, what can you what's some key words in there?
What's
Interview-
retrospective?
It's retrospective, but it's not ongoing.
Yeah,
Right, because it's
happened.
medical records studied, right? That's something that happened in the past. So it's retrospective, and it's something that they looked back at the medical records to gather data. Okay. So they were interviewed and their medical records studied.
Is it supposed to say they look back?
Another typo.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, man.
They're not supposed to
This is why you revise and edit.
Well, I can't on this.
No, not you, this person.
Keep
Yeah.
paid for typos, for errors.
Yeah.
That's not 100%.
She
You're
does in
missing
her
points.
videos. She
You're
does.
missing points. We're grading you
She
as
records
Grace.
from making these?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if she was being evaluated for a raise. She's
They
gonna
don't
be
raise
typos.
teachers.
Okay. All right.
Do you get
Now,
raises?
200, huh?
You get raises? Like, if you work here a certain amount of years?
You get the
Teachers.
What's
steps,
your salary?
but it's every
Okay,
every
let's-
few
That's-
years.
I mean, you can come like the head of a department, alright?
Anyway, what do you think, for example 4? It says 200 women were selected to do a 10-year study.
Prospective.
Exactly.
Unless.
And then it says collected over a 10-year period, right?
What if the 10 years were over? Is
Magnus.
it still perspective?
You know, it was very quiet. We were actually able to get things
Well, it's a good
recorded
thing
in
I'm
a
back
timely
now.
manner.
So,
Yeah.
what if the 10-year study was over? Is it still perspective?
Okay, no more
What do you
hypotheticals.
mean? What did you say?
Copy the thing and
If
move
the
on.
10 years were over, is it still perspective? If it happened?
It's in the past.
So after the 10-year study over, is it considered retrospective at that point?
Yeah.
It's only perspective of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. Something that's in the future. Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Thank you.
They can make you feel special.
Look at this page. This is like a bunch of.
You want a gummy bear?
Okay.
That's right. You're done.
All right. So can we generalize? Can we establish cause and effect? So it says on the next page, we can generalize our findings to the population of interest when we randomly sample from that population. We can establish cause and effect only with a well-designed experiment. It says well-defined. It should be well-designed experiment.
Where?
I'm on the next page. I can't scooch it up because I still have people writing.
We're good.
Come on, slowpokes. All right, here we go. So yeah, well-designed. This says well-defined. It should be well-designed experiment right there. All right. Observational studies do not impose treatments, which means we can't establish cause and effect between the variables with this type of study. Example 5. So the question is, do cell phones cause brain cancer? So a study looked at a group of 500 people who had brain cancer. The study matched up each cancer patient with another person of the same age, gender, and race who did not have cancer. Then they asked them a series of questions detailing the cell phone usage. They come up with the conclusion that the cell phone use is not associated with the risk of brain cancer. So, first of all, is this an observational study or an experiment?
I guess
Study. It literally says
observational.
study.
Observational.
Okay. What's the difference between the two? If it was experiment, that means what was used? A treatment.
Control.
That's right. So this is an observational study because no treatment was used.
They about to start asking about independent variables because I don't know. I was confused with those.
Sounds like biology.
All right, so now can we generalize about the population of interest? So in other words, were they randomly selected from a broader population of interest? Meaning that do they randomly select from all of the brain cancer patients? So that's how you would answer the next question. So the question is asking, can we generalize about the population of interest? So think about it. When they were randomly selected, were they selected from a broader population of interest, meaning that they selected them from all brain cancer patients? Is that what they did?
No, because there's the same
No.
age, gender, and race.
That's right. No, they cannot.
Wouldn't that be useful though?
Can we establish cause and effect?
You can never establish cause. Wait, that's
That should help you understand the question based on the type of study we have.
No.
what was that rule?
I mean,
Foundational correlation.
no, because
It's not
can't-
well designed enough because it's just talking about a series of
Well, this is
questions.
an observation, right? Not an experiment,
Yeah.
right? So that should help you with knowing the difference between, let me scooch this up to example 6. Okay. Okay.
So many words in Jesus Christ.
All right, so example 6.
Standard.
The teacher is interested in seeing if traditional classroom instruction produces higher test scores than virtual online classes. She gives 100 AP Stat students a pretest. She then randomly divides them into 2 groups. That's something key right there. One group goes through the course in a traditional classroom setting, and the other group takes the course online. At the end of the school year, she tests all the students again to compare the test. So first off, is this an observational or is it an experiment? Experiment. So the part where she says she divides them into 2 groups, that definitely tells us that was the treatment for them. Can we generalize about the population of interest? We're,
One class.
that's
one
right.
school.
That's right. Randomly selected from, remember, it has to be all of them. All right, so then for the cause and effect, did the teacher give the student something to do and then record a response? Yes. So the treatments were randomly assigned to the subjects.